In today's video I thought I'd show you just what I've done today, just to give a quick day in the life, because normally I do a whole load, but that's only, I can't repeat doing the whole load. You know, there's only so many times you can see me mow a lawn or dig over the same patch. So I just thought I'd show you just what a general day entails. It's a mix of various things, not always the same every week, but varying kind of jobs. They're quite similar. Okay, well, the first job I did this morning was that I took the pole, the strimmer, and put a hedge cutter head on, and I went up the track here. Well, if you can see the field at the far end, I don't know if I can zoom in far enough, but there's a gap there that we can zoom in. So there we go, right in the middle of the frame. Now you can see a bit of a hedge. Well, I went a little bit further than that, and all the way along on the side of the track I cut away brambles and any kind of thick, scratchy, thorny stick or shrub that can, you know, scratch paintwork of cars and stuff. Then when I finished that, what I did, I got some of these tiles, probably about a dozen, and I brought them up here. If you look at the water meadow now, I've got to say that is the most primroses we've ever had here. The orchard's full of them too. So yeah, so I brought the tiles up here and with a sledgehammer and smashed them up to fill in these little dips. Now there are plenty of dips up the track that need filling as well, because, you know, I've bottomed out my car and smashed the sump in, especially when you get a dip that side and a dip that side. And so your front wheels go into the dip, which means the ground gets nearer your sump, and a whack on the sump is a little bit expensive. So I've had that happen once, not here but somewhere else, so I know about that one. So what I have to do is smash them up with a sledgehammer, preferably out of the water, because otherwise you get awful splashback, and then rake the bits in. Obviously they're not fully squashed down, but that'll happen in time. I'm sure I'll have to keep raking some back in as people drive over it and displace them, so that's sort of an ongoing project. But we get dips like this that we fill in. We've filled in loads over the past few years, and we end up with more dips because there's lots of water underneath here, and basically depending on how the weather is and all the year round and how the rainfall is, water takes different channels. It doesn't always go through the same channel down a hill, so springs can move. April the 6th, and the bluebells in this patch are out. And in fact, they're not just a patch of bluebells here, they're bluebells and anemones. Okay, they're not fully, but they're more out than any other areas of this wood. And taking the strimmer with the hedge cutter head up that distance, it's getting on for half a mile, maybe more by the time you've gone up there and down and done the work. It's heavy, it's really heavy. Anyway, I came back and I changed the head for a strimmer head. Now I was here yesterday, and partly yesterday I took the dog's mercury out of here, and I cleared up a lot of arisings from the middle and gave it a bit of a clean. It's not totally weeded in the patio bit, and I mowed the lawn, and then when I put the strimmer head on, I went round the edge of the lawn here and went round all the beds and did all the paths round the beds with the strimmer. I wanted to show you the meadow because I didn't think this was going to happen, but the ground here is now just yellow all the way through with primroses. Right down to the fence at the bottom there. Obviously there are gaps where there aren't any, but you know, or rather there are gaps where they're a bit sparse, but I just thought I'd give do a pan round, and you can see how this will change if I do another pan next week, starting from here I guess. But basically it's just covered in yellow from the primroses, and also the tulips coming up, the out of place tulips. But also, it's not just those two. What we have here are fritillaries, with these ones soon to be out. Now hopefully, but I doubt it, hopefully I might be able to show you those next week, but as you heard, Mr. Bloody Pheasant loves to eat the flowers as well as the primroses, but hundreds of primroses, so he's not going to eat those, is he? Yeah, I don't think I can see any more, but I thought we'd do that, and I can show you it as it changes throughout the seasons. because there are orchids to come at some point. This orchard looks fantastic. It's a carpet of primroses. So one thing I did do yesterday, so this is my second day here this week, is down in the bottom there you can see a little tunnel. There's a little tunnel. Now there's a rose that hangs around there and to the tree to the left of it. So I've basically cut it back. Anything that's sort of head height, if you're on a tractor driving through there, you know, little grass cutting tractor, and anything that's hanging over in that little tunnel entrance, just so you don't get caught by roses, and obviously then barrow it back up here and get rid of it. Sometimes when I explain what I've been doing, I think, well, some people won't I think people won't get what's involved. Think, oh, you've just done some weeding, but it can be far more complicated than just getting on your knees, putting the fork in and weeding. There's the amount of reaching and stretching you have to do, minding other plants, etc, etc, which you know, it's hard to show that, like mowing that lawn, that slope. It's even with a self-propelled lawnmower, it's so wet and soft that it's really difficult. Another job I did yesterday, these snowdrops. Now we're trying to make it so it doesn't look quite like a patch. So basically what I've been doing is finding where they're a bit sparse and then making the gaps bigger by taking some out. And also up the slope there, I'm trying to make it so it isn't a straight line, because it was. So as you can see, I've made it a little bit more higgledy-piggledy. Now I got 2 big buckets loads of snowdrops, and as you can see, it's hardly made a difference over there really. And there's also some of these to plant somewhere and all sorts, but sometimes there is too much to do and you have to kind of prioritize. I mean, there are enough. If we go spreading them somewhere else, I don't know, there's just plenty everywhere. Anyone who's done this will be able to tell you, if you want to plant plants randomly, it is really hard to do, because random doesn't really exist. You could look in, because of mathematics, and if you look at fractals and various forms of mathematics, it's how plants grow. So it's very difficult. The only real randomy way you can do things is to just get a load of bulbs and just throw them, and where they land you plant them. That's the most random. But what about this? Can you hear those bees? It's a right old carpet there, look. Look at that. And some here as well. And some over there. Something else I did yesterday, first job, was to go down here to the copper stash there, the old copper stash, right there, in the centre of the frame now, and go on either side past the blue polo and down, and basically took the first sort of metre above the bluebells, just took the first metre of brambles down, and also I did just beyond that wall in that little patch, and in some darker corners because they'd grown back. So it's the best time to get brambles now, or probably was better a month ago, but it's still okay. I mean, some of the bluebells are coming out, but yeah, I can get above those for the brambles, and then as they reshoot I can go back, you know, in a couple of months after the bluebells are gone and get the rest. And here's where a lot of the arisings get brought. Here's the rose that I was talking about, and there's various other things. That's from the patio, the Jerusalem sage, and various other things get brought here. It's the only place out of the way. And the grass clippings go in this compost bin for this year. and welcome to the Italian garden. Now the job I'm on at the moment involves coming up here, so I'll take you with me, and you can hear how exhausting it is going up here. Now, wherever necessary in a garden, one of the things to do, or when you're working anywhere actually, is to always try and do the jobs that are furthest away first, because you then shorten the distance that you may have to go or move each time, because as the day goes on you get more and more tired. You never have the energy that you start the day with. Okay. Now I did go further on up there and then dropped down and sort of swung round an old oak tree that was quite slippy on its roots, no footholds, and I'm taking the ivy off. You can see there's a few up there I've done, and I think if I'm right, I'll remember, yeah, here's my tools line here. So I'm on this one now, so I'm just basically cutting all the ivy off all the trees I'm doing. I've done that way, so I'm now onto this way, because the ivy gets left and then branches below die away, it becomes top heavy, and then eventually with the wind and the gusting up the valley, it pulls the tree over. So yeah, so that's what I'm on. And just as just a bit of advice, seeing as I'm doing it, what you basically, I've cut, as you can see, you just need to cut it, but if you take a chunk out like that, then there's no risk of it somehow growing back together, you know, and that's basically it. That will stop it. I'm going to have to saw through that one, that's why it's left, and that one because it's too big. So but I've gone round. I don't think there's others. No, there aren't any. So it's just those big ones. But that's basically all you do, because ivy doesn't take anything from the tree, but it uses it as a support. So eventually the ivy gets to the top and the weight becomes too much. I can't see any out here, but that's already gone, and in fact, looking at it, that tree looks dead. But I can stop it, or well, I can put off its falling by doing this. But others, like the oak there, three big trees along, 1, 2, that one is the oak there. While I've been here today, I've thought to myself that I've been reminded, rather, of all the times when I thought, oh, I'll do that tomorrow, and it hasn't happened. Or I've listened and I've gone, no, I need to do that now. For example, yesterday when I was here, there was a brilliant shot coming through the gate of the sun. Now, I didn't quite get exactly what when I looked at the footage when I got home, I thought, oh, I need to, you know, I could see things I would like to have done. So I thought, I know, well, it'll be okay, I'll do it today. But as it turns out, the sun isn't, the sky isn't quite as blue and the sun isn't as bright. Even though I did it at the same time, I couldn't get the same shot. And also, similarly, with the, or even similarly, with the water and the sun reflecting off the water, I got some really good footage yesterday, but I didn't get it long enough. So there you go, there's an example of a couple of my days. I haven't even mentioned the details that are involved. So thanks for watching, don't forget to like, subscribe, share and comment, and I'll see you next time. Ta-da.